This is Story Recapped. Today, I'm going to explain a crime sci-fi thriller film called The Butterfly Effect 3 Revelations. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. A young boy enjoys playing on a swing set in a park as the sun sets in Detroit, but his mother soon tells him that it's time to go. As they walk back to their car, Sam Reed hides in the bushes to observe them. Before the woman could get inside the vehicle, a man dashes toward her and bludgeons her to death. Sam uses his binoculars to see the assailant's face, but he doesn't help the victim. Moments later, Sam wakes up in a bathtub full of ice and asks his sister, Jenna, to record the time of the incident as 7:12 p.m. That same day, Sam visits the police station to identify the killer on the pretense that he gleaned the information because he's a psychic. Detective Jack Nicholas is skeptical about him, but Detective Dan Glenn notes that they were able to put 22 perpetrators behind bars with Sam's help. Sam notes that the assailant seems to be a contract killer because he made a phone call after bludgeoning the woman. While Sam claims his paycheck, Glenn expresses doubt that he's a psychic and asks him to prove his abilities by telling him what his wife said to him when they first met. Sam, however, ignores his challenge and tells Glenn that he'll look forward to his next call. Later, Sam stops by Jenna's apartment to pay her rent and bring her groceries. Sam ridicules her for not leaving her apartment, so Jenna explains that she goes out once in a while to see her psychoanalyst. Jenna reveals that the psychiatrist told her that it's unhealthy for her and Sam to avoid talking about the fire that killed their parents. She asks Sam to recall the incident and notes that his previous explanation didn't make sense because she can't figure out how he found the time to come back and save her. Sam gets upset and tells Jenna that he can't remember because it was a long time ago. That night, Sam gets an unexpected visit from Elizabeth Brown, the sister of his murdered girlfriend, Rebecca. Elizabeth notes that she's in town for the upcoming execution of the convicted murderer, Lonnie Flannens, but she contends that he didn't kill Rebecca. Elizabeth shows him Rebecca's diary, suggesting that she had a relationship with Lonnie while still seeing Sam. In one of the entries, Rebecca notes that someone has been following her, but she doesn't think it's Sam because he didn't know she's cheating on him with Lonnie. Elizabeth discloses that she told the cops about the diary, but they contend that it's not significant enough to reopen the case. She learned from Glenn that Sam has a way of finding out the actual perpetrators of crimes, so she offers to hire him to catch the real killer. Sam rejects the offer, so Elizabeth reminds him that Rebecca's murderer is still at large and an innocent man will be executed for the crime. Sam goes to a bar later to drink with physics professor Harry Goldberg. Sam reveals that he thought of jumping back in time to save Rebecca, but Goldberg reminds him that he can't use his ability to alter the past. Sam asserts that he can go back just to observe, but Goldberg argues that he would be tempted to intervene because of his love for Rebecca. Goldberg then points out that Sam is already suffering from the consequences of altering his past. He reminds Sam that his parents died in the fire because he jumped back in time to save Jenna. Goldberg also expresses concern that Sam's brain could be damaged because of the overlapping memories of different timelines if he keeps changing the past. After parting ways with Goldberg, Sam hooks up with a bartender, Vicky, and takes her to his apartment. In the middle of their activities, Sam suddenly loses enthusiasm after noticing the picture of Rebecca tucked in her diary. When Vicky leaves, Sam inspects the diary and finds a picture of Rebecca and Lonnie. The next day, Sam calls Elizabeth to inform her that he's decided to help her. He visits Lonnie in prison to tell him that there may be a way to reopen his case, but Lonnie thinks that he's there to mock him. Lonnie accuses Sam of killing Rebecca and notes that he should be on death row instead of him. That night, Sam goes to Jenna's apartment and asks her to help him jump back to 1995 on the night of Rebecca's murder. Jenna is reluctant because he could alter his past, but she complies when Sam threatens to do the dangerous procedure without her supervision. Soon, Sam finds himself outside Rebecca's house a few minutes before she's murdered. When he sees Elizabeth arrive, Sam convinces her to stay in the car while he checks out the house. Sam quietly heads to Rebecca's bedroom and finds her lying in the bed. Outside the house, the killer emerges in the backseat of the car and slits Elizabeth's throat. Sam uncovers the sheets and finds out that Rebecca is already dead. Sam runs back outside, only to discover that the murderer has also killed Elizabeth. Sam returns to the present, passed out on the floor of his apartment. When he wakes up, he learns that he's renting out his couch to a man named Paco, and he no longer owns a car. Later, he visits the police station to look at the case files for Elizabeth's and Rebecca's murders. Glenn allows him to see the files, but he notes that it's the last time Sam will be allowed to enter the station as a guest. When Glenn informs Nicholson that Sam used to be a suspect in the case, Nicholson decides to show him the files of the other victims. He notes that they will see some hints if Sam is the murderer. Sam soon learns that the killer has now murdered 6 other victims apart from Rebecca and Elizabeth. The detectives note that the suspect, now dubbed as the Pontiac Killer, kills one woman about once a year by cutting them apart. He also discovers from a newspaper clipping that Lonnie has been cleared for the murder. Sam visits Goldberg in his house later that day to tell him about his plans to return to the night of the murder, but Goldberg notes that he can't repeat a jump because it will fry his brain. Sam tries taking a sniff of an exotic-looking flower in Goldberg's indoor garden, but Goldberg warns him that the plant, burundanga, could leave him paralyzed for an hour. He notes that he puts it under his window to knock out burglars. Goldberg then advises Sam to jump to the third murder and identify the killer because there's nothing else he can do for Rebecca and Elizabeth without breaking the rules to keep the timeline intact. That evening, Sam stops by Jenna's house to ask her to supervise his jump to September 5, 2000. But Jenna refuses to help because people end up dead every time he travels in time. Sam decides to jump on his own and breaks into the apartment of the third victim, Anita Barnes. When Anita arrives, Sam hides in the closet and waits for the murderer to show up. Soon, a man wearing a ski mask barges into the apartment and forces himself on Anita. However, the assailant eventually stops and takes off the ski mask. Sam soon learns that the assailant is Anita's boyfriend. The man is trying to fulfill Anita's fantasies, but he can't go through with it because he feels terrible about assaulting her, even if they're just pretending. The boyfriend eventually discovers Sam in the closet and punches him in the face. Sam returns to the present and wakes up on the couch, but this time, he's the one who's renting the couch from Paco, who wants to evict him because he can't pay. Soon, Sam goes to Goldberg's house, only to discover that the professor has been missing for a while. When Sam returns home and looks at the case files, he discovers that the third victim is now Lonnie instead of Anita. Sam finds Anita alive and well, so he tries to talk to her to find out how she managed to avoid the killer. However, Anita recognizes him as the intruder in her closet, so she sprays him in the eyes with mace and runs away. Sam immediately heads to Jenna's apartment and tells her about Anita. Jenna realizes that Sam jumped without supervision, so she reminds him that he could end up with brain damage or drowning in the bathtub. When Sam mentions that Goldberg is missing, Jenna reveals that Goldberg was about to turn over evidence linking Sam to the murders before he disappeared. Jenna then tells Sam that she covered for him on the night the Brown sisters were murdered. She expresses concern that he could go insane from his constant jumps and become the murderer in the future. When Jenna asks if Sam started the fire that killed their parents, Sam reveals that he saw Jenna die, so he traveled back in time to save her. Sam gets upset about her question and insists that he uses his abilities to help people, not hurt them. Jenna surmises that Sam is getting stressed from jumping, so she advises him to stop and leave the investigation to the police. That night, Sam goes to the bar and asks Vicky to spend the night with him. However, Vicky turns him down and reveals that she's already engaged. When Sam leaves, a masked figure enters the bar and attacks Vicky as she closes down the establishment. The assailant slashes Vicky's fingers before proceeding to kill her. The following day, Nicholas shows Vicky's ring finger to Glenn and informs him that the rest of her body has been found at an auto plant somewhere in the city. They find out from a receipt at the bar that Sam was the last customer, so they take him into custody. During the interrogation, Glenn points out that the case against him is strong and notes that he only avoided the charges in the murder of the Brown sisters because of Jenna's alibi. When Sam denies his involvement, Glenn gets frustrated and shoves him against the wall. The detective then compels Sam to confess and plead insanity during the trial. Nicholas soon enters the interrogation room to inform Glenn that Jenna has arrived with a lawyer. He adds that they still don't have enough evidence against Sam, so they must let him go. While they're talking, Sam steals Glenn's notes from the table. Glenn instructs Nicholas to assign someone to follow Sam before releasing him. When Sam gets home, he learns from Glenn's notes that the police found the serial killer's victims in the auto plant on September 19, 2004. Sam jumps to that day, hours before the discovery, to conduct his own investigation. He soon comes across a room where the killer hides the victims' mutilated bodies. Upon seeing his own face in the mirror, Sam returns to the present and wakes up on Jenna's couch. As Jenna prepares to leave for work, she advises Sam to keep the case files out of sight because it's starting to scare her. Sam returns to the auto plant that night to investigate further, only to learn that the police were waiting for him there to arrest him. After the interrogation, Sam calls Glenn and begs him to let him out so he can find the killer. He confesses that he can travel through time and convinces Glenn by telling him that he met his wife at a Sweet 16 party and she thought at the time that he was MC Hammer. Sam confesses that he went back in time when Glenn started asking about his abilities. He kept the knowledge to himself so he could tell Glenn during a critical time. Glenn finds a way to release Sam, but he notes that the police will come after him after a few hours. Sam returns to Jenna's apartment, but nobody's home, so he compels the landlady to open the door. When Sam checks Jenna's room, he finds Burundanga on the bed and inadvertently sniffs it before remembering Goldberg's warning that it could paralyze him for an hour. As his consciousness starts to slip, he takes 2 packs of ice from the freezer and heads to the bathtub. He manages to turn on the faucet before he totally passes out. Sam ends up jumping to the auto plant to look for Goldberg. He thinks that Goldberg is responsible for the murders because of the Burundanga he found in Jenna's room. However, Sam discovers that Goldberg is also a victim when he finds the professor severely injured in the room where he previously found the other victims. Sam hurriedly runs out of the auto plant to call for help, but his foot gets caught in a trap. Before long, the masked figure emerges and approaches him. When the figure removes the mask, Sam is puzzled to learn that it's Jenna. She helps him get out of the trap and promises to jump back in time just to move it out of Sam's way. After confirming that she has the ability to jump, Jenna reveals that she killed Rebecca because she was cheating on Sam. She then confesses that she followed Sam when he jumped back to the night Rebecca was murdered. Sam realizes that she's the serial killer and points out that Jenna had no reason to kill the other victims because they were strangers. Jenna, however, discloses that they were only strangers to Sam because she killed them before they met him. Jenna notes that Sam would have moved with Anita to Chicago if they had met under normal circumstances. Sam asserts that he could have raised a family with one of the victims, so Jenna hints that she killed the women out of jealousy. She reveals that she also had to kill Goldberg because he almost found out that she was responsible. Jenna blames Sam for making her a serial killer because there were more witnesses that she had to kill every time he jumped. She kisses him on the lips after confessing that she started to fall in love with him when he saved her from the fire. Jenna then contends that she loves Sam more than anything in the world, and she stresses that they're meant to be together. Sam suddenly falls unconscious and jumps back to the night of the fire. When Sam sees his parents making their way out of the burning house, he tells them to go ahead while he finds Jenna. Sam soon finds Jenna in her room, but instead of saving her, he holds down the door to prevent her from getting out. As Jenna begs for help, Sam tells her that he'll always love her. After fleeing from the house, Sam breaks down in tears as his parents ask him what happened to Jenna. When Sam returns to the present, he learns that he's now married to Elizabeth and they have a daughter named Jenna. They arrive at an outdoor barbecue where he is greeted with a happy birthday by Rebecca, Goldberg, and his parents. While the family catches up, Jenna puts her doll on the grill and smiles as she watches it melt.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.